Boatworks Today is a viewer-supported show. To learn more on how you can get involved and watch extended ad-free versions of these videos, please visit our website, boatworkstoday.com, and click on the top of the heading where it says Support This Show. Thank you. What is going on, everybody? I hope you're doing well. My name is Andy with Boatworks Today, and I think I'm finally at the point where I can get started on this project. So while I'm working on sorting out the details on some of the larger aspects of this project, there's certainly some things that I can be working on now in the meantime, and that's primarily going to be, like cosmetic stuff. Some stress cracks and some chips and dings, as well as some other areas that I'm calling halos. So this is what I'm referring to as the halos. Essentially, they're old holes that were filled with, who knows what, but whatever it is that they used to fill this hole, it started to kind of push through the exterior, and it's creating this, halo around the perimeter of the old hole. So there's a number of areas like this on the boat, and I want to get them taken care of. Now we're going to get started on the repair process here in a minute, but I thought it'd be kind of helpful to take a closer look and try and figure out why something like this is happening. More oftentimes than not, whenever you can understand the why something is happening, it makes it that much easier to put together a plan to make sure that it doesn't happen again. So let's jump up in the boat and take a look at the backside of this area. It's pretty typical to have more than one contributing factor to an issue, and I think I have a pretty good idea on what's going on with the exterior, but I'll touch on that here in a minute. But looking at this backside, you can see that the hole itself, when this was done, it was never completely filled. There's still a pretty good gap, pretty much on the whole top half of this old hole. And that allows a couple of things, but primarily it allows moisture to get in there, whether it's actual rain or just changes in humidity. But moisture can get in there. It can affect the core and allow things to expand and contract and eventually let this plug work itself loose. Now, ideally, when this was originally done, they should have just removed this excess epoxy and then just smoothed it over and then put some glass over top just to completely seal it. That would have 100% eliminated the possibility of any kind of a moisture getting in there. And when I start doing more work on the interior side of the boat, that's exactly what I'll do. But for right now, my main focus is trying to get this exterior part taken care of. So let's hop out of here and start getting this outside of this old hole prepped. So with the plug exposed, which is that little gray thing that I'm pointing to right here, but with that, now that we can see what's going on, that gap that we noticed across the top of the plug from the interior, that actually carries through the full thickness of the transom. And although when this was filled, even though it wasn't completely filled 100%, there's still little voids around the edges. That's not the main, cause for that halo to open up here. When I was grinding over this, there wasn't a single layer of glass over that patch. And that's really the trick. Whenever you're filling larger holes, you really need to have a layer or two of glass. And you can use, there's a number of different types of material that you can use, but you really need to have something over the patch to tie it into the surrounding area. That way, if the plug does come loose, you still got a glass skin over top of that to keep it from printing through and creating that halo around the plug. So, where to go from here? Well, now you can see here there's a couple different layers of material going on. Right here we've got it right down to bare fiberglass. Then this blue, who knows? That could be it could be fairing compound, it could be primer. I really don't know. And then finally you've got this green layer around the outside. Now this, I'm guessing, is some sort of a fairing compound. Now, regardless of what this plug is, I'm guessing that these two fillers are some sort of an epoxy based. And that's, going into this, I kind of need to presume that, because that's going to come into play as far as, it's helping me to decide which kind of material I want to use for building this area back up and make sure that this does not happen again. There are certain materials that are safe to put over top of one another and still ensure that you're getting a good bond. So, again, going, just as an umbrella type of a guideline, epoxy is pretty much safe to put over everything. I mean, epoxy will bond to pretty much everything. Now, on the other side of that coin, it's generally accepted that putting any kind of a polyester or a vinyl ester based product over top of epoxy, sometimes you get away with it, sometimes you don't. But as a general rule, you want to avoid putting a polyester or vinyl ester based product over top of epoxy. So presuming that these are epoxy layers, I'm going to be using epoxy for the repair. But first I think I'm going to open this up just a little bit larger, because the patch that I want to put in here, I want to make sure that I've got good contact to the solid glass and not necessarily laying up on top of whatever these different layers are. So I'm going to grab the sander again and just expand this area just a little bit more. So after having sanded this just a little bit more, you can start to see there's even some more voids that are kind of opening up in here. Now before I come in and start laying in my new material to kind of stabilize the surface, I need to fill in these little voids here just so that I'm not creating trapping another void beneath my patch. And for these repairs, I'm going to be using Total Boat 5:1 epoxy in their fast hardener made by Jamestown Distributors. Now the epoxy is going to get used for all the glass work, but I'm also going to mix up some thickened epoxy for filling in some of those voids around the halo area. So let me get the thickened epoxy mixed up, and then I'll get my glass cut and we can start getting this thing patched up. Now because this is on it's not just a vertical surface, it's actually inclined a little bit. Rather than taking the risk of laying up some dry glass and trying to wet that out and having some of it kind of drip down or run down the sides, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take the 1708, lay it down on some scrap cardboard. You could use plywood or a piece of plastic, whatever you happen to have. But I'm going to wet the 1708 out on this, and then I'm just going to put it in place and then go over it with the fin roller. So I think that's going to give me the least amount of chance for making a mess. So, got another unthickened batch of epoxy mixed up here. Now I am going to come through and just kind of coat this, just so that there's a nice little layer of epoxy on here before I put the glass on. And I should mention too that because I'm using the same epoxy, I use thickened epoxy for filling in the little gaps in here, but I'm just using the same epoxy now, it's just unthickened. So it's perfectly fine to go wet on wet on wet when you're doing layers like this. Now here's a quick, a question that comes up quite frequently is 1708 is basically two layers, it's biaxial fiberglass, but on the back of it, it has some chop strand matting attached. And what a lot of people get confused on is that, and rightfully so, for the most part, all the chop strand matting that's sold in the U.S., the binder that they use in actual just chop strand it's a styrene-based binder. Now, it's pretty well known that using epoxy and chop strand typically isn't the best choice, just because there's no styrene in the epoxy to melt the binder in the chop strand and make it allow it to conform and behave the way that it's supposed to. Now the thing about having that chop strand on in 1708 is that it's stitched. The chop strand is stitched in place. It's not being held by any kind of a binder. So because of that, there are no issues with using 1708 with epoxy, even though it does have chop strand. It just doesn't have a binder. It's being held in place by the stitching. So now, by having that one layer of 1708, what that's going to do is essentially create a skin over the exterior of that plug so that there's no way that that plug will ever be able to print through or create another halo again. So it just kind of ties that plug in along with the surrounding area. So again, it's just if this had been done originally, then there would never have been a halo, but it wasn't done, and so that's what kind of led to the halo. So we're going to let this bake overnight and come back in the morning, and then we'll be able to sand this down and fair it in. But in the meantime, I've got a fin roller that needs to get cleaned before the epoxy sets, so let's get that taken care of. Okay, now cleaning these fin rollers is really, really simple. There are different types of fin rollers, but my particular one has a removable screw on the end, so I can just back the screw out, and then this whole barrel will slide right off. But now the solvent that you use for cleaning this is acetone. Now, acetone dissolves a lot of things, including nitrile gloves. So you want to get a good pair of heavy-duty latex, and that way they won't melt and they'll hold up to the acetone. So basically, pour a little bit into a cup. And take the screw out. Now this is an aluminum roller. So the frame, the barrel, and this everything is all aluminum. So that means it's a soft metal. So if you don't want to crank on this too much. So we're just going to drop that in, let that soak. Get a piece of paper towel, and we're just going to clean the epoxy or the epoxy off of this in here, and especially along these ends where the threads are. You want to make sure that these threads are clean, otherwise you won't be able to get this barrel nut back on, or you might be able to get it back on, but you'll have a hell of a time trying to get it back off because after the epoxy sets. So clean this off, use your fingernail and kind of get right in there in the threads and just kind of get all the schmutz off. And as far as this, it's just a matter of going round and round and wiping it off. Now, I suppose if you really wanted to go next level on cleaning this, you could get a wire brush, and then come in and clean in between each of these the fins on the barrel here. I don't usually do that. If it gets built up enough, in between these grooves, I'll just let it cure, and then I'll come in with a small little pick, and the old epoxy will just fly right off of this. So now on these barrels, one side is larger than the other, and the larger side is the side that's going to accept the barrel nut. So if we're putting this back together, we're going to find the larger side, make sure that's sticking out, come back and fish out the little barrel nut, and tighten it back up. Just until it's snug. Again, like I mentioned, this is all aluminum, so if you really crank on this hard, you'll strip out these you'll strip out the threads, and you'll be getting a new roller. So just snug, and then you're good to go. Good morning and happy belated Thanksgiving. It is the following day, and before I checked out last night, I went through and I did the same repair on maybe 3 other spots on the hull. So now, since everything has cured, today is what I'm hoping to be able to get done, at least before I've got to check out, because it's Thanksgiving and Papa's got to eat some turkey. So what I'm hoping to get done this morning is to get these areas sanded down and then get some fairing compound over top of that so that it can cure and be ready to go for tomorrow morning. So let's grab the sander, get the stuff knocked down and filled in. For the fairing, I'm going to be using my new best friend. It's going to be a total fair, and you've heard me talk about this in past videos, but for general fairing, especially when you're going to be painting and stuff, it is just such a nice product to be working with. So basically, this stuff gets mixed up equal proportions, 1 to 1, and I'm not going to need a whole lot. So I'm just going to do a relatively small batch. And how much that is exactly, I don't know, maybe 2 ounces, 1.5 ounces per tub, give or take. And I have found that this stuff is pretty forgiving. It doesn't need to be exact. Like, you don't need to weigh out, to make sure that you're actually getting a true 1-to-1. It's pretty forgiving as long as it's, you eyeball it, and I've never had it come back to haunt me. So, and the easiest way I found to mix this stuff is basically to spread it out on the board and scoop it back up, fold it over on itself, and just keep repeating this process until you no longer see any streaks. And when you have a nice uniform green color, then you're pretty much all mixed and ready to go. So let me get everything wiped down real quick with some acetone, and then start spreading this out. Papa wants his turkey. And I think troweling this stuff out is pretty self-explanatory. The only thing I'm going to make sure to do is to basically spread it out in 2 different directions. So here, I'm just going to be going side to side, and then I'll come back and go top to bottom, just to make sure that there's good surface contact, and one side's not going to be built up higher than the other. And another thing I want to do is to make sure that I actually have enough material left on here so that when I'm sanding it, I'm not going to have to worry about any kind of a low spot or a dip in here. I want to make sure that there's enough material there so when I sand it all flush, it's actually going to be sanded flush. Now with that part done, I'm going to be on hold for the rest of the day, at least as far as this aspect of the project goes. And it's Thanksgiving, so I'm going to check out and go watch some football and eat myself stupid. So I'll catch up with you tomorrow. So it is the following day, and I think this is about ready to finish off. Now, I'm not going to get too over the top with getting this thing or this patch perfectly faired, because eventually I'm going to have to do the entire hull anyways. So, I've got other things I want to move on to. So for right now, I'm just going to get this knocked down. I'm going to be using some 120 grit on a regular 6-inch sander, and then I'm going to call this spot good. That actually feels really, really good. Now, one thing I just want to kind of highlight a little bit here is that if you're going to be doing something like this on one of your own projects, one thing to kind of pay attention to is that when you're initially dishing this surface, you want to make sure that you dish it out deep enough so that there's enough room there for your glass, so that you don't want to lay glass right up to the surface, and then when you sand it down, you basically sand off all of the fiberglass. So you want to make sure that you dish it deep enough so that when you come to sand it flat, the glass for the most part is going to be left untouched. At least the glass that you laid up over the plug. And then also, what I like to do, just because fiberglass has a tendency to kind of print through a little bit, I also like to make sure that I initially dish it out deep enough so that it accounts for the fiberglass, but also a thin layer of the fairing compound. And if you're looking closely here, you can see that I'm just about ready to start getting through to the fiberglass that I laid up, but not quite. It's still, all the texture in the glass is still actually covered with a little bit of the fairing compound. And then, up in here, I ended up, evidently, dished it a little bit deeper right up in here, which is why the green is more solid in color rather than starting to get a little bit translucent. But all in all, this looks and feels really good. And on that note, I think I'm going to call this one done for now, because there are other aspects of this project that I want to get started on for next weekend, primarily up on the foredeck of this boat. I'm dying to see what's going on with all those stress cracks up there. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it helpful. And if you did, please give a thumbs up. As always, if you have any questions, comments, leave those down below, and I'll do my best to get back with you. And yeah, until next time, have a great week, because you're seeing this on Sunday. Have a great week, and I'll see you again next Sunday morning. Thanks for watching.
This has been a Boatworks Today production.